and welcome to BioStock. Today I'm joined by Emilia Tauriala, who is one of the clinical trial investigators in Chordate's study. Welcome, Emilia.
Thank you.
Could you first tell us a bit about your professional role?
Well, I work at Terveystalo, which is a big healthcare company in the private sector in Finland. I work as Chief Medical Officer in Terveystalo Digital Health, and I also do neurology consultations. I have my own neurologist appointment, and I take part in clinical studies conducted by Terveystalo Clinical Research and Biobank.
What was the most rewarding working with Chordate's study?
For me professionally, it was most interesting to see the placebo effect of this treatment. Yeah, that was really the most interesting for me professionally. Also, of course, the favorable results were nice to see.
And what do you mean with the placebo effect? What was the most interesting?
Yeah, so half of the patients were given sham treatment, but some of these patients still got some benefit from it, and we didn't, of course, know which patients were given what treatment, but then afterwards it was opened for the patients, so we were able to tell them what treatment they got. And there we found out there were some patients who got a temporary amelioration of the migraine symptoms. And what was different compared to the ones that had a treatment effect from the real treatment was that it was a short-lasting effect. So after stopping the treatment, the effect was gone very fast.
So how was the study conducted?
It was a randomized, placebo-controlled. In this case, it was sham treatment given. It was double-blind, so we were blinded to the treatments, which was the real treatment with the stimulator and which was the sham treatment. Also, the study nurses and the patients were blinded. It was multi-center, so there were many centers taking part in this, and ours was one of them. And it's a clinical trial with a medical device. And we had first a 4-week screening period to make sure the patients do have chronic migraine. And then there was a 6-week treatment period with a 4-week observation window to assess the treatment effect, and then a follow-up period of 4 weeks as well. So this was the frame of the study, and it was conducted to assess the efficacy of this treatment with Kinetic Oscillation Stimulation that is given intranasally. And of course, preventive treatment for chronic migraine was the target of this study.
Could you tell us a bit more about the study results?
The results will be published separately, but we had in total 132 patients, and half of them were given this treatment, the real stimulation, and half of them, so 65 patients, were given sham stimulation. And they came to the clinic visits in a similar fashion. The nurse would put the device in the nose, in the nostril, and give treatment for 10 minutes. And this was conducted, or the treatment was given once per week. So the treatment time each week would be 20 minutes in total over a period of 6 weeks. And the primary outcome was the reduction of monthly headache days, comparing the screening period of 4 weeks to the period of 4 weeks at the end of the treatment period of 6 weeks. And then a secondary outcome parameter was comparing the reduction of headache days during a 4-week follow-up period. So after the treatment, comparing to the baseline of the screening of 4 weeks. And the headache days were significantly reduced when comparing the real intranasal stimulation compared to sham stimulation. Yeah, so that was basically the result.
Interesting. And why are new treatments for migraine needed?
Well, currently available treatments for migraine prevention include medications mostly. So we have blood pressure medications, antidepressants, and anti-epileptic drugs available for most patients. And while they can be effective for some individuals, they are not always successful in reducing migraine days or their severity of the attacks, and they may also have unwanted side effects. They are actually quite common that the side effects prevent use of those treatments. And as we have new drugs targeting CGRP, or its receptor, they have been developed and they have shown a great effect with quite minor side effects, but there are still patients that can't use these or don't want them. So, for instance, the monoclonal antibodies have a long washout period when pregnancy is not recommended, and many migraine patients are women with childbearing potential and maybe plans to have a family, and then it's a little bit not so flexible to use these treatments if you're planning to have a family. Also, many patients would like to have a treatment without any systemic effects whatsoever. And for the most part of the world, these maybe a little bit uncomfortable drugs have to be tested first. So many patients have been unlucky with these blood pressure medications or anti-epileptics or antidepressants that can give you weight gain or dizziness or tiredness as a side effects. So I feel this a treatment without any systemic effects is very welcome addition to our migraine prevention. Not drugs, but ways to prevent migraine.
And could you tell us a bit more about the benefits with kinetic oscillation stimulation compared to pharmaceuticals?
The side effect profile is very different. So the kinetic oscillation stimulation mostly gives side effects during those 20 minutes that you receive the treatment. And it can feel uncomfortable, but the rest of the week you are free to go, so to speak. So the side effect profile really is very different. Also, I would like to compare this with earlier methods of peripheral nerve stimulation, because there are other treatments that have the same idea to stimulate peripheral nerves for migraine prevention and also cluster headache prevention. And most of these stimulators are designed to be installed under the skin. So you need a procedure beforehand and maybe some healing time for the cut to heal. And only then can you start the treatment. But here all you really need is a nurse and the device and the diagnosis of chronic migraine, and you are good to go.
Interesting. And thank you for watching this interview with Emilia about Chordate Medical's treatment and study. And thank you, Emilia, for joining me today in the studio.
Thank you for your time. It was nice to be here.